So, hello, welcome to my channel. This is my 5th live stream. I wanted to add a little intro, that's why I have no other idea how to do it. It's about an old sequence from 2017. This was the origin of my kind of hyperlapse stop motion thing. It was roughly not a long sequence. It's 385 pictures. I discovered that it was made with my bicycle even. See, it's too shaky to you cannot do nothing with this sequence. You cannot add the warp stabilizer, nothing, and you cannot track, because where should we add the motion trackers? Let's say if we even make different tracking portions, where should we add them? And the second thing, how often this would be necessary to do. So we just open up After Effects. Here it is, the composition. See, and I'm taking down this to like 10 pictures. 15 is even too fast. See this? It's too shaky, and I got this question quite often, or at least I'm seeing this question when somebody posts footage and it's looking like this. No chance to stabilize. I'm just demonstrating that one time we let's say STRG Alt Shift E. Warp stabilizer was still the last effect here. We say only this in the method, position, scaling and rotation, and smoothing it down only 1%, so the warp stabilizer has the least problems with this. But you will see it's still too shaky, it's still not going to work, and that's what I want to show you. We can not fasten this up, but it's okay. It's live and it's almost a third is already done. And let's see if I can show you something in the meantime. Warped 2. Okay, pre-stable and warped, pre-stable, warp, pre-stable, warped 2. Okay, this is the initial sequence, and then it's going from here to here to here. And what I did, look, you can see it by the frame count. The original sequence has 386 pictures, and the final one has only 272. Okay, and that's all about what we are going to do right now. Okay, 18 seconds still left. Good. It's just for demonstration. I did it several times here, and I actually started with the editing, and it was horrible because it's very hard for me to let out all the steps. But if I am live, it's kind of easy for me to just concentrate on the most important things, as I already prepared everything and it's done already. And auto scale only stabilizing, good. And now let's see, the original resolution was 1024 multiplied with 768. This was set to my camera. I adjusted it like that to be able to take more pictures after another, because my SD cards, I hadn't very big ones and fast ones. So I set this to 200 more, it's 1200. Now we can see what the warp stabilizer is actually doing. And even with 1%, look what this little cool guy is going to do. Sometimes it's even getting worse. Did you see this? It's getting worse. And to explain why it cannot stabilize the sequences is, look, we press down STRG in German, CTRL control, and now look, how in hell should the warp stabilizer know that I'm looking completely up and I lost my target? In terms of hyperlapse jargon, it would say, where is my track point? It's gone. It's nowhere. And what is this? Then it goes back up and back down, and it's a completely mess. It's not actually even a hyperlapse, but this is a good example of what can I do with completely messed up hyperlapses, when we want to call them like this. Because this is my base, I'm actually not working with this, because this is the base for the other compositions. They go out from that one. That's why we deactivate it. Better not deleting, it's okay, we just can work with this. So after this composition, I just did something very easy. Look, that's what I was doing. I deleted each and every picture which is not really which you cannot stabilize, because it is actually in any way stable. It's completely out of order. That's what the case is. So we deleted, let's say, after this guy here, I think it was his back. Yes, and after this guy already comes. And in the original one, we have all this crap here we do not want. Why we should want this? Back right, back left. So in the beginning it was more than documentation of my life and keeping everything in my mind, keeping everything like an archivist. It developed with the aiming, it more and more developed, but still sometimes it's only about recording in single pictures. So we delete every part we do not want by hitting, for example, CTRL, Shift and D. Now it's divided in 2 layers, and I can, by hitting the left mouse button and dragging and letting it go, and then pushing it to the edge of the last frame. Do you see? That's how we cut in After Effects, by CTRL, Shift and D. And CTRL D is duplicating, and CTRL Shift D is duplicating with splitting in half. So I don't want to talk too much right now about this. I'm just deleting every picture which I know the warp stabilizer cannot work with. And after that, look, after that, do you see there's no effect? I let the sequence as it was. I am deleting each and every picture which I know the warp stabilizer cannot solve, and then I'm doing this. I'm going to the transformation tools, and as it doesn't make sense to track anything here, because the question was how can I stabilize sequences which have no reference point, which are too unstable for the warp stabilizer? So here's the answer. You just go to transformation tools. You go to transformation tools and you are stabilizing this by hand. Look, this is, for example, a picture. It's okay. and this is as well okay. This is not a good example. We go somewhere which is still not so good. Here, for example, here I want this to be a little bit more in this direction, but before I have to do it on the last good picture here and let it stay with the 0, and then I go to the next picture and then I say I want this to be like 2, or let's say yes, like that. No, a little bit more. And by hitting the CTRL button and the key arrows, the arrow keys, I can stabilize this by this, like this. Okay, and that's what we are going to do. All the sequence. I'm deleting this again because this is our base for the now coming next composition, which is made out of this mess up here, what I want to call it. So we have the shortened one, which has no pictures which are really bad anymore, by really bad in terms of this sequence at least, you know. And here it was a little bit harder, scaling not too much, but position, many position keyframes, everything stabilized manually. I tried to, do you see it? I could even add some more of rotation keyframes, but it wasn't the case. So after I was done with that, I took this and then I called it pre-stable, and then I, with the left mouse, I took this, dragged and dropped it in this little film symbol here, and then from that this one appeared. This one appeared, and then I applied the warp stabilizer like you saw it before. And then I thought, okay, the warp stabilizer now at least is able to stabilize this a little bit. You see? And even here, after the warp stabilizer, I try to improve it by scaling, position, and rotating it a little bit more. And then when I was here, you could even delete this, because this is bounded on the upper one. Maybe I forgot one picture, that's why I divided them. Don't be confused by that. You see, just deleting those, because actually this one, it's only about this. See, you can delete them. It doesn't have an effect. It's only important that when you don't know what to which composition this keyframe is dependent, it's only by splitting that, because it's the After Effects I did not figure out. I don't know, you cannot edit here or cut. You can duplicate and split in half. That's why the keyframes double, but it's not the topic here. And after that, I just dragged and dropped this one, pre-stable, then warped, and I dragged and dropped that inside here, and this guy appeared. And I named it warp 2, pre-stable warp 2, because I warped the warped one again. And that's why it's here right now. And see the effect. I did not warp it. I thought it's okay with the warp stabilizer. I just edited a little bit with scaling and positioning. So, Ivana, I hope I could answer your question, and that's how I should stabilize a sequence before adding the warp stabilizer. So, okay, that was it. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.